Hey friends, what's going on? Welcome back to another Remnant 2 video. I didn't think I'd be posting another one this early over the weekend. I'm waiting to see the archetype trailer that's coming out on Monday. Well, I assume it's coming out because they announced that IGN is going to be doing an archetype breakdown on Monday, an exclusive look of all the abilities and all that kind of stuff. So I'll definitely have a video out for you guys on the Warden on Monday. However, Ben Cureton, better known as Tragic, over on Twitter gave us a huge info dump on a lot of the free things coming with the newest DLC on September 24th. This includes the boss rush, the Prism / fragment overhaul, and also the item filter, which kind of leaked a little bit of rings that are going to be coming in the DLC. Tragic, you know what you're doing when you do it, but we appreciate all the information. Let's dive right on into it. And for those of you guys that have played Remnant from the Ashes, you will recognize the background gameplay in the survival game mode, which is beloved by the entire community. There was some pushback from people wanting survival mode in Remnant 2. However, we got this boss rush, but I'm going to go through the deep dive because it sounds a lot more survival-ish than we originally thought. And listen, Gunfire Games is gonna cook, so we just gotta let them cook and let's see what they're up to and see what they can deliver for us, because I just know it's gonna be amazing. And there's lots of features in this deep dive that I want to talk about with you guys, so let's get started. First, we're taking a look at the boss rush information that we got. This was the first info dump that I was like, whoa, that's a lot of text. All right, so starting at the top, it's a hybrid of survival, horde, and boss rush. So I kind of wish they would have come up with a unique name for it, because I think just saying boss rush and having that trailer turned a lot of people off because they were like, I don't want a boss rush, that sounds boring to me. But you know that they're gonna put some twists and turns and have cool rewards on it. So let's read further. You can use your existing character. You can also start a new character and go right into boss rush. So I'm wondering if you could just start a new hardcore character, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to do a challenge run where they do the 19 bosses hardest difficulty on a hardcore character. Tell me if that's you, if you're going to be doing that, because we can't choose our normal difficulties, Survivor, Veteran, Nightmare, and Apocalypse. We can't choose those for this. It's just the 3 difficulties, which we see down here on this image. Triple threat for 3 back-to-back boss fights. This is 2 dungeon bosses and a world boss. And then Trial by Fire and the Gauntlet both include Annihilation, the final boss at the very end. And the middle difficulty is going to be 6 consecutive bosses and Annihilation. The Gauntlet is 19 bosses and then Annihilation, which is crazy. But this is going to be a way to test your current builds and test out some new builds that maybe have more survivability or sustainability. There'll definitely be some unique builds specifically for the hardest mode of boss rush. Let me know down in the comments if you guys want to see those type of videos from me of boss rush builds that could be viable on day 1. But let's go back to the tweet. So first, you enter into a dungeon, which is a quick horde experience. These are much smaller zones than you're used to. In fact, sometimes you may zone in and actually see the exit door across the way. So these are going to be like custom tiles basically. So I'm assuming that these are going to look like a world dungeon like you normally would see it, but instead of having ups and downs and injectables and a bigger map, it's just going to be a smaller map, which I really like, because as you can see from the gameplay, it takes me like 10 minutes to get to the bosses in the old survival. Now granted, we don't have unlimited stamina out of combat, and courses also had a lot of twists and turns, but I could just imagine in Remnant 2 having to run all the way across Nauru to try and find the dungeon door to get through to the next area. I just feel like they've cut out a lot of that running time, which is really nice. So once you're inside, you have to defeat a certain number of enemies to spawn the aberration. I'm assuming there'll be like a counter or something. You spawn the aberration. That's also going to be random what type of enemy that is. Defeating them will unlock the path forward. Unlike Remnant 1, the door stays locked until you have dispatched the initial threat. So you can't just speed run through it, because the strategy for Remnant 1 survival basically became just going as fast as possible to out level the enemy level. So you can see in the top left, it shows your level and the enemy's level. So people would just try to outrun it, which was really fun to try and do. But after a few bosses, it becomes where you are just trying to sprint past every single enemy that you see, and movement speed builds and daredevil type builds became kind of the meta for survival, which is fun to a certain extent, but just sprinting across the map and not even engaging with enemies kind of gets old after a while. And then he says in each zone you're going to find a power pylon, and this is going to give you a choice between 3 options. They can be pure stats or hacks, which are more complex buffs. Things like chance to spawn a black hole, spinning orbs, spawn health orbs on kill, etc. So that's pretty cool. Adds a little bit of variety to it. You can enhance the power of the hacks and stat buffs by selecting them again. We did see what that looks like from their blog post selecting a buff. Now this is going to be individual for each person, so if you're in there with a group of 3, everybody is going to get to select their own buff. You can have up to 5 active buffs at a time. So that's maybe why you would want to skip them if you're looking to just upgrade ones that you already have. The power pylon is there when you first spawn in. It can be found at any time, but the location is random, so you got to keep your eyes peeled. It's going to be on the minimap after you defeat the aberration, but it may be a little bit far away, so you may not want to go grab it. Like I said, the slots are limited to 5, and each person gets their own pylon buffs, and each of them can be stacked to 5. So if you don't like the buff set you see, you can then skip them and you hope for something better next time. Alright, after completing the initial dungeon, the horde of enemies in the aberration, you zone over, you fight a random boss. The order is dungeon, mini-boss, dungeon, mini-boss, dungeon, world boss. And then on Trial by Fire and the Gauntlet, the other 2 difficulties, you're going to be greeted by Annihilation. Defeating any boss is going to instantly grant you another power pylon choice. So you're going to get a power pylon in each of these sections as long as you find it and go interact with it. So you're going to be getting a power pylon in each of these sections, and it looks like for the easiest difficulty you would just have 5 power pylons and then you would fight the world boss, and that would be it. So you wouldn't really have that strategy of skipping or increasing the level of the buffs. But then Trial by Fire and the Gauntlet, obviously you're going to be able to double up ones, and that kind of leads to like better build choices. Now I don't think he talks about it here, but I'm not sure if you can just swap around your loadouts and your classes just like you can in the main game as long as you're not in combat, because that'll add some element to it as well. I don't know if there's going to be a boss door that you have to go through, so you could like change your loadout and then go through the door, or if you're just going to spawn right in the boss room and it's going to be active. So we'll see if swapping around loadouts is going to be a thing, or if it's going to be one loadout to go through the entire boss rush. He does mention there are no world stones, so you can't refresh your relic charges and your ammo, and some of the buffs like the Challenger Prime perk where you get an extra life. If you already use that, you can't sit at a world stone to refresh that. However, you can get extra relic charges from loot chests and post boss chests, so if you're in the really long one, you can get those refreshed. And he says these also contain ammo, consumables, and crafting materials. In the boss rush, you can earn Luminite, Corrupted Luminite, Simulacrum, Iron, Scrap, and of course XP, which you need for the new Prism system, which we're going to talk about next. For every world boss you defeat, you'll be rewarded with a Corrupted Shard, win or fail. So like if you kill the first world boss, but then you lose to the next one and go back to the end, you'll probably get 1 Corrupted Shard. We'll see. But you get corrupted shards needed for some of the corrupted weapons, which I still need a handful of the corrupted weapons. So this is going to be an awesome way to farm that out, because I'm not going to have to just like hope for a random aberration spawn. So that is extremely awesome. Additionally, for every world boss you defeat, you'll be rewarded with any missing corpse drop / cast items, 1 per world boss defeat. So if you're missing some of those random items that cast sells, or the random amulets and rings and stuff that you can find in the different worlds, instead of re-rolling and just trying to find those random items, you're going to be able to get them from here, from the world bosses. And then any boss chest, so mini boss or a world boss, has a chance to permanently reward you with any missing mutators, which is great because these can also be random with the aberrations, and you won't have to find a random corrupted aberration in order to get some of those newer mutators if you missed out on those. And then he does say here that higher tiered runs, Trial by Fire and the Gauntlet, you can also get boss drops, and you can earn boss mods and boss weapons, which is really cool because once you get those corrupted weapons, then you can go back into boss rush and you can earn back the regular boss weapons so that you can have both. So it's like kind of an easy way for people that have run the campaign a bunch and run adventure a bunch and just want to chill and just run this mode over and over and get randomized bosses to fill out their collection. So at the end, we're going to get a scoreboard similar to, I would assume this is similar to Remnant from the Ashes. And then you're also going to be able to unlock unique prisms, which are the key to the Paragon Badass system. We're going to look at this in a second, but I believe there's 7 different prisms. And he does say that you do need to play Boss Rush to obtain all the unique prisms. So I'll be interested to see what that's like. I think those are going to be kind of a little secret-y, so I'm excited to check that out. Hopefully that gives you guys a better idea of what to expect from the boss rush mode. That is definitely the bulk of the info that we got, so don't worry, the other sections are not going to be as long as that. Up next, I want to show you guys some quick info on the Fragment UI / Prism system that is coming out with the DLC. There's going to be a full write-up on the official blog before launch, so maybe I'll make another video just going into it in depth. Here's what it looks like in the UI. There's going to be a separate section just called Fragments, and it looks pretty cool. There are, I guess, 5 prisms. I said 7 earlier, but I guess there's 5 prisms here. I'm assuming that that's this side over here, even though this is 7. So I'm not sure. And then here are your fragments that you would normally have in your relic. Those are shown here. We've got kind of the second ring, which is probably like the mythic one versus like a cracked one, and then we've got the damage reduction over here. So it looks like maybe they're just going to separate them out from the relic completely, and this will be a separate section altogether. But he also says that the weaker ones are going to be removed and replaced with better choices, but I'm going to leave this to a separate Prisms video. When they released that blog post, Tragic tweeted that there's far more than meets the eye with Prisms and all will be unveiled, so the grind is back, and there are secrets within this system as well, so that's going to be pretty crazy. Now let's take a look at his last tweet. This was a quick one for the item filter just to show you guys what it looks like. So let's take a look. Twitter video is so bad, they compress it so bad, but we're going to take a look real quick. So basically you would go into your item, scroll down, which there are so many new items in that scroll down, but you're going to be able to click on, sorry, I didn't even see it because I was looking at that. You're going to be able to click on filters right here, and then you're going to be able to click on different keywords. So if you just want range and all damage, you would click those two and then go back out. It's going to filter only to those specific ones, which just looking at this page and this pause screen right here, we can see 1, 2, this ring looks sick, by the way, 2, 3 new rings, 4 new rings, right? I think that's it. Oh no, 5. Oh my god, this is so we know there's at least 5 new range and all damage, so that's pretty sick. Oh, do we have any more? No, I don't think so. All right. So for the item filter, you can do 1 or more of these different keywords, and he said there's also a way to change these filters too of what you see in there, so that's pretty cool. Let's pause again and see if we can see anything new. All right, that one we saw in the all or range damage filter. Oh, that one's new. I didn't see that one last night actually. There's the other one that we saw. I don't think that one's new, but I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. Let's see what else. This one's new. So that is the item filter, super simple and easy. And all of this, by the way, is completely free. You don't need to purchase the DLC or have a deluxe version or anything to get these features. The Prism system, the boss rush, the item filter, and any more quality of life stuff. That stuff is all free to you. And I have a feeling that this DLC is going to be the best one yet. I know they said it's going to be bigger than the other two, so that's awesome. I'm going to be jumping in straight away when it drops on the 24th. I took the whole week off work, so we are going to be streaming and playing and recording and making videos and showing you guys how to get all the loot and the secrets. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe here. Go give me a follow on Twitch if you prefer that as your streaming platform, but I'm going to be streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, and we're going to be posting a bunch of videos to YouTube. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.